Alrighty, everybody, it's that time once again on a Thursday night with the Bolt Bros in the house. That's right, it's Kyle right here, back at it again, doing my own little thing. As always, I like to have a little bit of fun tonight. You know what I'm saying? We like to relax, chillax, talk about the football, talk about the Chargers. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's gonna be a fun night. Obviously we're at the time of the year that the team is basically, just not doing anything. Nobody's really doing anything. So we just like I think it's a good time to really talk about the players as the most or whatever, it's like to kind of have a discussion about them. Last week we talked a little bit about the players that are in danger of losing their jobs with the team. So I felt like it would be good for us to talk about the players that have a good chance or high potential to make the team, and maybe some players that might be a little underrated and stuff. So that's kind of what I got planned for you all. I just want to give you guys a little bit of heads up. So they might be some shockers, and they might not. I know for sure my brothers did talk about them, but I kind of wanted to go into them with you guys all as well, as a more, as a live look of us just kind of just chatting and going back and forth about these players. So, yeah. So, what? I mean, I'm just excited, guys. I really want to get into it. See, some people are starting to trickle in, but we got Mighty up in the chat, George Casillas up in the chat. What's up, and Miguel, of course, as always. What's up, my brothers? Yeah. So, hey, so if you guys are just joining us, let's get into it. So I'm gonna hit that intro button, and as always, Bolt Bros, let's go.
What's up, Kermit here, man? You watching the Boat Bros podcast. Stay tuned.
Shout out blue dreams, stadium lights gleam. Boat Bros on the beat, lead stream. Chargers rocking speeds, Sonic supreme. From the podcast to the field, we're a team. Charged up, Boat Bros on the night. LA Thunder in electric delight. Bullets in the battle, sparking bright. Charged up, ride the lightning, feel the fright.
All right. Looks like George is on the train right now, so he is riding the lightning for real right now. We got the Bolt Bros going. He's on the choo choo train. Like the, you know what I'm saying, the Bolt, the gang bang train. I don't know. No, maybe not that much. Maybe that might be too much. Anyways, guys, so yeah, so if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the video, because it really does help us out in the algorithm. And we do like want to, if you can, just share the show. As always, we don't really do too much to, in as way as like making you guys pay for this stuff too much, but if you haven't already, go ahead and share it with your friends. That's kind of a big thing as well. Like, sharing the show is, I think, number one thing that you can do to help us out a little bit. So but no matter what, though, we just appreciate you guys for being here and watching the show with me and just having a discussion about our team, the thing that we love, the Chargers. So yeah, but I digress. So yeah, so first and foremost, how's everyone's week going? Mine's been all right. I've been doing pretty well with my studies this week, and I'm getting further and further along. I'm feeling very comfortable with what I'm learning. Overall, this week has been pretty good. But I do admit that I'm getting tired of it. And I can't wait for Friday. Thank goodness it's Thursday. It's Friday Eve, and obviously this is the best part of my week, being able to talk to you guys. Yeah, so I'm excited, and just so you know too, is like the best part about my studies this week is that I'm actually in a position where I'm not going to be having to study like a lot more every single day. And so I'm able to, I'm not going to be like last month where I was like really kind of flaky, and I was missing a couple of, shows, whatever like that, but I will be able to stick around and do a lot more in this coming week. So because I'm putting myself into a position that I can actually keep my mental capacity in check, and I'll be able to keep doing every single Thursday for sure for the meantime. So yeah. So Sam, so if you're just coming here today, like I said, recap of what I just talked about, or not just talked about, but there's some players that I have in mind, that I've seen online, and my brothers have talked a little bit about them too. But there's a couple players out there that I feel like are underrated, there are some players that I think that do have a big possibility of making the team this year. So that's kind of what I wanted to chat about this week. So, and because last week we talked about some players that might end up getting cut, or at least on the bubble of all that stuff. So I felt like this would be a good one for us to talk about. Some that might be considered as underrated, and some that might be sneaky little devils to make it onto the team and actually show up and take other people's jobs. And so I guess that's kind of a weird way to say it, but I want to see them make the team. So yeah. All right, yeah. So we got some couple late bloomers. LOD, what's up, my man? How you doing? Sam Nova. How's the new job? Are you back in school? No, I'm not back in school. New job's good, man. I've been really having a blast with it. It's been really, really fun. Super refreshing kind of experience. Pretty awesome. Charles Motts asked a good question right away, actually, here. So I'll get into that, dive into that right now. So it says, hearing that Pipkins is on the bubble. Yes. My brothers and I were talking about that on our group chat, actually, just before the show, just for a few moments. And it's Pipkins is definitely on the bubble, and he's got a big salary cap hit, for the team. It's very possible that Jamari Salyer can take the position from him, because he's been a starter for the last couple of years. He's been a first stringer on the right tackle, then he went to the right guard, so now he's kind of been in flux there, and it's very possible that Jamari Salyer, because he's also on that second string situation, so Salyer might be able to take over his position 100%, just completely replace him, and that would be a cheap move or whatever. So, but yeah, I can get that. It's very possible that, hey man, competitors welcome. Jamari Salyer is actually he's a fantastic player. Don't be sleeping on him. But I do think that Pipkins is he's a solid player as well, and I don't think that he might not be going anywhere anytime soon. However, hey man, it's a competitive league. Jim Harbaugh might see something on on him in a little ways, and just like, hey, you know what, man, I think we can use your cap space in a different way, so that could be good. Let's see. And Pipkins, LOD says Pipkins will be the swing tackle. No way they let him go. And exactly, that's a very good point, LOD. It's you don't want to let go of tackles. The bottom line, he's played as right tackle for a long time. Yes, he's currently not even a right guard right now because of Becton, but he's the guy behind Alt, and you just don't want to see him let him go. Those left tackles is an important position. Backups, you need to make sure that those edges of the pocket are secure. Hey, what's up, Brad? How you doing, my man? Did we get a trade? I'm not sure if we did get a trade yet. So yeah. Miguel says that Andrew can replace Pipkins. Yeah. But we are but going back to this one, Brad, yeah, I think we are talking about a lot of things. I think we did have a move recently for Dobbins. We don't know if we're going to get a draft pick for him, if that's what you're thinking of. Is the idea. So yeah, I'm not too sure. So I see Pipkins getting cut versus traded. Yeah, it's probably more of a cut than a trade. They'll probably just let him go. But I don't know. I think that they can get something from him. He has value, and so that's where I think that they'll make something happen. So, anyways, okay. So let me get into what I wanted to talk about. And I'll start with the players that I felt like are underrated. And you might think this is kind of a thing, or this might be a little crazy, but I don't know. I'm kind of I'm kind of on the fence about this player in some regards. So let's just kind of jump into it real quick. Let's jump into it. Yeah. So let me pull it up here. Okay, there you go. Move that there. And okay, that's the right button here. Okay, cool. Boom. All right, there you go. So Alohi Gilman is one of the guys that I actually do think is quite underrated right now. And why is that? Well, look, obviously, look, shout out to the Alohi crew for backing their boy and us keeping him, because I do think that Alohi Gilman, it has massive potential for the team, and he's come a long way since we've first got him. But he also had a couple of injuries off the field, on the field, and stuff like that, but his turnover creating ability on a contract year right now is going to be a big thing for him, because we talked a little bit about this on Sunday, but Jim Harbaugh puts a huge emphasis on interceptions. Interceptions are critical for his defensive schemes, and I think that's where the Chargers have shined lately, is the fact that we have had a high turnover margin in the last last season. And so that's kind of what he wants to do. And I feel like Alohi knows that he's under the knife. He's on the issue there of getting all that stuff. And so Brad actually kind of brings up a good point, something that I was thinking about, So this does kind of bring into mind, it's like, okay, so what do we need to do? What does Alohi Gilman need to do in order to make it so that way Jalen Ramsey does not come to the Chargers? I think he needs to step up in a massive way. But obviously, sure, okay, Alohi Gilman's a safety. Actually, I think this is more for one of the other players that I had listed here. But I feel like Alohi Gilman does have a lot of potential for the team, and I think he's going to be massive for it. So I want you guys to while I'm going to pull up my next slide on Alohi Gilman. But while this is up there, I want you guys to ask this. I'm going to pull it up on the chat here. I'm going to type it in here. But how critical is Gilman to the secondary success for the 2025 season? So yeah, I'm going to do that. How critical? Actually, hang on. I got it in my notes right here. Just copy and paste it. Why am I trying to make it this harder for myself? There you go. How critical is Gilman to the secondary success for the 2025 season? Okay, let me see if I can pull that here. Sam Nova also does say this that Jasir Taylor needs to step up, and I agree with that too. DZ jumped in the chat. What's up, my man? How are you? Gilman is in a make it or break it season for sure. Molden and Mickens could take his job. Exactly. And I'm going to get into both of those, into one of those guys too. So we'll get into that. But you just look at so let me just pull up my question there. Yeah. So go ahead and answer that question in the chat. While I look at just kind of examine his stats real quick with you guys. I mean, obviously this is just a very basic side of it, but Alohi Gilman, obviously, he's a bit undersized. So that's a critical thing right there too. So he's 5'10", 201 pounds. And he obviously was a 6th-round pick in 2020. He's been around the league for now 5 years. He's never really stepped up in the biggest way that he should have, I suppose. But maybe this is also coming from the fact that he's a little bit undersized in some regard, and we all know that Jimbo likes the jumbo. You know what I'm saying? He likes big boys, bigger than him, tougher, stronger than him, all that stuff, So 2024 season was a little bit of a tough one for him, but so he had like 34 solo tackles. So he's kind of really, really low ranked on that. 0 forced fumbles, 1 interception all year, and 4 passes defended. So 2024 season, he was not that good, but we have seen spectacular seasons out of him before. So I do think that, and I do wonder that he could be considered a bit of a sleeper for the Chargers right now. A bit underrated. But he, like I said, his motivation needs to move the man. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to need to be able to step up in a big way in his own regard to realize, hey, man, if I want a job on this team or if I want a job in this league, I need to show that I'm worth my contract. I need to show that I'm worth a shot, you know? So I think he could actually have a huge breakout season this year, all things considered. So let me look at the chat, what you guys are saying about Gilman here. So Miguel asked a question. How disappointed will you be if the jerseys are not navy blue? All right, so a little tangent. That's all good here. But yeah, honestly, I would not be disappointed. I like the idea of a modern refresh version of the Royal jersey. I think that would be pretty awesome to see something like that, because we didn't see the Royal all last year. Maybe we'll see the Royal instead of the Navy this year. So that could be an option because we only saw the Navy last year. And the other thing is like I'm also kind of interested to see what an all yellow jersey, like the sunshine gold jersey would look like. I mean, like I'm not gonna kick it out of bed for eating crackers. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, yeah. All right, so back to Alohi. Yeah, he knows the system. That's a good point. Yeah, so Sam Nova's betting on Mickens replacing Gilman. Okay, I like that. I mean, hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible for sure. Yeah, I think that's a good point. So DZ makes some comments that Alohi needs to be a TED. Is TED. Yeah, it's like way too injured last season. When he's healthy, he's good. He's a good safety along with DJ. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I totally agree with that for sure. So but Miguel is doubling down on the size doesn't matter comment. Hey man, take your blue chews, man. Stay ready, baby. Yeah. Sam, I'm not 100% sure what his PFF rating is this year. Like, I don't really care about PFF too much. I feel like they're very heavily biased and like they hate the Chargers anyways. So I'm not even going to bother consider that, So, and I'll be perfectly honest too. Like, so we see his stats here, like solo tackles, and all these different things. Like the stats doesn't necessarily tell the full story. You know what I'm saying? So I always take stats with a grain of salt. So I don't think of that. Yeah. So, but LOD says RJ Mickens with RJ Mickens, Alohi is still highly needed, but Mickens helps since Alohi misses a few games every year. I'm saying his importance is high. All right, that's a great question. A great comment there, LOD. I think you're right though, because look, I mean, you can say whatever other people are saying that Mickens is going to take over for Alohi, but veterancy, like in knowing the system and being in the league for a while, and knowing how like this player does this and like where they move this way or whatever like that, experience does beat raw talent. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it does, and that's why you do see a lot of like there's some players out there that are better because they're younger, faster, stronger, whatever like that, but they get beat out because of the veterans. They just know how to move bodies around. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But by the way, I think that's my crutch right now. So I'm gonna try and actively stop saying, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I know that's it's a very LA thing. I think that right there. So yeah. Okay, DZ says both Alohi and Mickens, both round 6 picks, similar size, but it's what's between the ears that matter. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at there, DZ. Could not have said it better myself. I love what you said. Great comment. Gilman had Pablo said, "Hey, what's up, Pablo? How you doing?" Gilman has been good at stripping the ball from the opposition. Yeah, I think so, and that's a good idea. But he, like last year, obviously no forced fumbles, only 1 pick, but that's it. That's just 1 year. He's had better years, so it's all good. Mark Scott, what's up? Welcome to the chat. How you doing, my man? Although he's a hustler and deserved his extension, the injury put him on behind Elijah. Yeah, 100%. And look, you can't blame a player for injuries. It just sucks. It's a rough game. It ain't no tickling match out there, It's all good. Mighty says, I don't really like about Molden, but if it works out, He always tries to strip the ball. He misses more tackles than he creates fumbles, though. So I don't like that he does that every time. Okay. Fact is, hang on, before I jump to the next slide, I think because everyone's, I think you guys are right. Oh, dang, I just pressed the wrong button. And so I want to actually get to him real quick too. So that is somebody that I was going to talk about. So, yeah, let me pull this up here. Okay, yeah, it's back. Okay, and boom. Okay, boom. Yeah. All right. So we are talking and I think you can't really talk about, Alohi Gilman without bringing up Elijah Molden. I think right now they both go hand in hand. They are a tandem, and Molden can kind of take both positions as well. So he's currently listed as a cornerback with what's it called? ESPN, but he also can back up as a safety. So I would just call him a defensive back, like I said. So but both of these players are very much they have this underdog ability to them. They both kind of struggle a little bit with injuries here and there because they're older or whatever. But the key difference here is that we just signed Molden for an extension. We signed an $18 million contract with him. So I do think that Molden has a little bit more cover in his versatility. Coverage. So he's a little bit more. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yes, sometimes he has a little bit more versatility than I think Alohi Gilman does, and I think he proved that last year. He had a very good year last year, Elijah Molden, that is, and he proved that he was very much understanding what Jesse Minter wanted from him, and he was just in the okay, Iweenie. I'll highlight that. Why not? Yeah. So he's proven that he was 100% doing what he needed to do. So while I get into the slides for him, or the next slide for him, I'm going to pose into the chat this one here. How will Molden's role evolve with Derwin James and Gilman? So yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts that I was wondering. I was like, with him and Derwin James, Gilman, Molden, and Derwin James, that is, and of course Mickens. How is his role going to change? I think though, because of the contract, of course, with him, he's 100% going to stick around for a while. Because experience beats the different aspects of being a rookie. There's I keep saying anyways. So there's a lot of different things behind everything. The rookies are faster, stronger, they recover better or whatever, but experience, like I said, you learn how to move bodies better. But let's just kind of look at his stats real quick. From last year, he had 43 solo tackles, which is obviously higher than Alohi Gilman, but not by much. Let's face the facts. 0 forced fumbles, but 3 interceptions, which is awesome. And that was, obviously they're right. It says they're tied for 19th overall. Passes defended, 7, so tied 80th overall. So obviously not a fantastic year. Yeah, and but wait, hang on a sec. I keep seeing what Iweenie said about something. I don't know. This comment. What are you talking about? Oh, here it is. All right. That one there. Okay, so Elijah Molden is a better safety in coverage than Gilman. This is going to be the first full off season in Minter's scheme. He'll be the lead on the back end with Gilman, while Derwin is near the LOS. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's what you're saying. All right, that's what you're saying there, Iweenie. Sorry, I keep seeing the chat that you're saying different, and so that's kind of distracting me a little bit, but it's okay. Of course, I also thought you were just testing me to figure out if I was actually live or if I was just an AI or something like that, So, anyways, But yeah, I do think that, between Elijah Molden and Alohi Gilman, I do think that Molden edges over Gilman by just a smidge right now. But it could be, even more so. But okay, Miguel brings up a good point. But the injury concerns are still on the table, though. So Molden's injury should be concerning, but they don't play the same after. Yeah, exactly. So I get that, but at the same time, it's like, these players, they got like millions of dollars, and they are, they have all the time in the world to make sure that they're on top notch, and they're doing better, and they're keeping themselves in better shape and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, we've seen some players have like these big, massive injuries, but they get back on the field in like 4 weeks, man. Because whatever they got, and the biggest thing too is we got Herbert, for the physical conditioning coach, So I don't know. I think he got some magic there, He's got the big magic there, So yeah. Let's see. Joey Lewis brings to the chat here. Our safeties play good off each other. Molden coming off an injury. It's easy to have him in a backup lineup of the rookie, some burn to start the season. Yeah, okay, I can kind of see what you're saying here. Yeah, and you're right though. I think we have a good synergy with all of our safeties right now. But again, like going back into the size don't matter comment. Look, Molden is smaller than Alohi Gilman, despite being a little bit better, So like he's still 5'10", but he's 192 pounds listed. But that's about it though, So yeah. And yeah, so like it's a big question. It's like, okay, well, is he really going to be able to beat out Alohi Gilman? I mean, this could be like one of the first battles in the training camp, I believe, is Molden versus Gilman kind of situation, Mighty brings up the comment that says that last year was his best year in the league so far. So though, if he doesn't do as good this year, don't be so quick to blame the injury. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Oh, and of course, HH Forge brings up another point. It's like, yeah, look, we also got not Justin Jefferson. Sorry, that's a totally different Jefferson. But yes, Jefferson is also on the field, but he's definitely going to be more of a backup, kind of critical, third, down kind of person, because he's up there in age, So and he's there for that veteran presence and stuff, and so. But we like him a lot, and I think Jefferson is also like just fantastic, and he does know the system for Jesse Minter, and he does really well with it and stuff too. So, you should have included what in your comment. That's all right. Yeah. Good doctors. This is also what E. Weenie says. Molden was a late addition who didn't start full time until midseason. He was in the 19th graded safety and coverage last season. Yeah, no, he's good. No, he's real good. So yeah, man, it's all good. So, thanks for the comment on the shades there, Brad. Yeah, we these are pretty sweet though. They got the bolt roasting. By the way, I'm gonna make an order for more of these here pretty soon. So that way, like, I'll be able to, I'll when I'm at games, I'll have a few. If if you like show me that you're a subscriber or something like that, or shoot a video with me, then we'll like I'll be able to hook you up with some shades or something like that, So that could be something that happens in the near future. But yeah, I need to get that order in so ahead of the season for sure. So yeah. Miguel brings up a question. Here's a random question here. So what position is the one you are most worried about on the team? Ooh, good question. Position that I'm most worried about for the team right now. It's probably just because of the uncertainty behind the position. But I would say center, 100%. Look, I've kind of felt like we needed to address center somehow, but I'm not 100% certain that Zion Johnson is the answer for the center position. I mean, sure, maybe Bozeman can coach him up a little bit and get him right, but at the same time, it's like, look, Zion Johnson just took Bozeman's job at center. I don't really think he really wants to teach him too much, like he wants to. Bozeman can't teach him stuff about center because he needs to learn how to be a guard. So like maybe they can teach each other a little bit, but go back and forth on that, but I'm still kind of shaky on that whole side right there, left guard and center. That's my biggest questions right now. I didn't even see your guys' discussion, before I answered him, but yeah, that's kind of my thing. That's my thing. Yeah. So, but anyways, let me go back. Kind of give you a preview about who I was going to talk about. Yeah. So, third person I want to talk about is actually Tuli Tuipulotu, the Mr. Tongan himself, baby. So I feel like a lot of people in the league, not that aren't familiar with the Chargers too much, are gonna sleep on this guy. Yeah, they're gonna sleep on Tuli because let me just think. Think about this real quick. So he was obviously a good draft pick for us. He's been behind Joey Bosa for the last 2 years. And that was just the thing. His stats have never really shown that he had. Yeah. And yes, thank you, Miguel. Get some T's in the chat, baby. T's in the chat. Yeah. So he's never really had the starter position itself. And so now with him taking over the edge role from behind Joey Bosa, and now he's controlling it. It's all himself. I do think that some people are going to sleep on him because they're going to say, "Oh, you don't got Joey Bosa anymore," So I think he's going to be a sleeper for a lot of teams this year because the fact is, he was our sacks leader on that side. I think was he the sacks leader entirely? What do you guys? Someone in the chat, let me know and confirm that with me because I think he may have been the sacks leader for the entire team, but I'm not 100% sure. So you guys confirm with me on that one because I'm not 100% sure. It could have been Mac, but I'm not sure. So, but I'm gonna pull up his his basic stats in a second here, and we'll talk a little bit more. But I'm gonna pose this question in the chat for you guys as well. And I think you guys are already answering it in the chat. So you guys are way ahead of me a little bit here. So, but my question is, can Tuli become a breakout star alongside Khalil Mack? And I think, from what you guys are talking about already, I think the answer is 100% yes. The biggest thing for him though, too, is obviously he only had 26 solo tackles last year, which is actually fairly horrible for an edge rusher, of course. Like of all the players that we just seen, he has the least amount of solo tackles out of all of them. He probably has a bunch of assists, of course. Yeah. And I'm getting some answers in the chat already, so that's awesome. But for sacks, like I said, 8.5 sacks for the year, and that's pretty freaking good. For basically the second, rounder, or not a second rounder, but the second tier edge rusher that we had. So LOD said confirmed Tuli had 8.5 sacks and Mac Dupree had 6. So yeah, he was our sacks leader for the season behind Joey Bosa, and I think that stat alone made it secured him as a reason. Like, okay, we can let Joey Bosa walk. Tuli's our guy, 100%. I think a lot of people are answering in here. George Casillas, answer is yes. HH4, who, by the way, is one of our resident negative, I wouldn't say he's necessarily negative, maybe pessimistic, but I would definitely more realistic. I would say he's also saying Tuli is yes. So DZ's also thrown into the ring here is hoping that Kennard can bring the juice on third longs and with his speed. Yeah, that's very possible. Miguel gives us another yes. Tuli is being taught by a great vet, and he did great with rookie year. Definitely a player that is skyrocketing. Yes, 100%. And he's only 23, 100%. He's pretty young. But yeah, obviously he's got the size. He's got the talent. 6'3", 266 pounds. He's not quite Joey Bosa's size, you know. HH4 confirms he's a realist. That's what's up. Yeah. I swear, Mighty and LOD always get confirmed there. You know, they stay on there. Yeah. Eweenie says Kennard gonna be good too once he learns how to stop the run consistently. Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for Kennard as well, and 100%. Kennard's probably going to be the replacement for Khalil Mack, more than likely. And so we'll see. We'll have to kind of learn the names of Tuli Tuipulotu and Kyle Kennard, and we'll hear the announcers talking about big sacks from these guys very, very soon. So. Like I said, I think Tuli is going to be one of the top guys of our team. And you know, he's gonna be highly underrated by a lot of other teams, a lot of other player fans, and so they don't quite know his name yet, but they will, you know. So yeah, Kennard can chase Mal Homeboy down. That's right. Eweenie asked a quick question. What do you think about our IDL? Actually, I'm pretty stoked about it. I think you know, I was going to talk about this guy real quick. Let me just kind of hide this real quick. You know, I was going to talk about this guy real quick too. But I do think that TR Tart, he was on my bubble of someone that I was possibly going to talk about tonight as well. But I'm excited for TR Tart. I do think that he had a pretty dang good year last year as well. Not as good as Puna Ford, of course, but TR Tart is going to be a good thing for us as well. And I think we talked a little bit about it on Sunday, but the other guy that we have in, let me pull it up here, Chargers roster, ESPN. Like sometimes I need to have this thing just pulled up because it's sometimes there's just so many players. Let's see. Jamari Caldwell. Yes. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Jamari Caldwell is our backup nose tackle as well. And I do think that in the 3-4 defense or whatever. So that does mean that Jamari Caldwell is going to be our basically in a 4-3 setup. He would probably be our other nose tackle. And so I'm actually pretty stoked to see Jamari Caldwell as well out there. So he's TR Tart and Jamari Caldwell. I'm stoked. And then, of course, we got Deshaun Hand on one side, who I think is going to do fantastic, and Otito Obonya. I'm pretty happy with our defensive line for sure. So yeah, Caldwell's going to be awesome, and yeah, I can see that you agree with me on that one for sure, man. Yeah, so we're gonna be all right. But yeah, Caldwell's just a little young, so he's still a little green around the ears. You know what I'm saying? So like, but he'll get better. Like, but that's why he's gonna be behind TR Tart, and we are probably gonna run a 3-4 a little bit more than anything. So yeah, so we'll see. And yeah, so but yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on some of our those players. Let me go back a little bit. So. Yeah, so you did kind of see quick little, and you're right, Miguel, 100%. Trust the process. Believe in all the H's. We got Herbert, Harbaugh, Harris, Hampton, freaking Ortiz, freaking other Herbert, you know, physical conditioning Herbert, you know, so, and Trey Harris, yeah. So all the H's, you got to believe in H. How do you do H on the sign language? I don't know. Henley, oh yeah, Dan Henley, that's right. Believe in the H's, that's right. Anyways, oh yeah, Harmon. So yeah, you know exactly. So exactly. I don't know why we have so many. Why do we have so many guys with the last name H's? Throw some H's in the chat. You know, yeah. H is in the chat, man, all day long. H's. Okay. Now I digress. Okay, so let me go into this more stuff here. So yeah. So 100%, guys, just keep commenting as much as you want. And okay, here you go. So my what I was gonna get to as well was my other spot where, like, let's talk about some of the players that have some of the biggest potentials, you know. So honestly, like, so I will admit, guys, like I did get some of these articles from Chargers Wire. I'm gonna drop those in the chat or in the description, so you can actually take a look at those articles and talk about them and read what they said. Obviously, I kind of only glanced at what they're talking about, but I kind of had my own little notes about it too. So, but this guy right here, Raheim Sanders. So obviously he's one of the guys that I know that we've all talked about. And my brother's talking about him. You guys are raving about him in the chat all the time. So I had to do my own little research on him as well. And he's going to go, he has big potential to making the team, making the squad, beyond not just being on the practice team. So, and LOD agrees that wait, no, you disagree. That he is not going to sniff the field, in my opinion. Oh, interesting, LOD. But you know what? I tend to kind of disagree right now, so, because right now, look, with our running backs, obviously, look, yeah, we got Najee Harris, Marion Hampton, Hassan Haskins, and Kamari Vidal. Well, I just look, I get what you're saying, but at the same side, competitors welcome. I do feel like Raheim Sanders has really good ability out there. So this is that's the Rocket. Yes. LOD, I don't know about making a bet on this one, but I mean, he's definitely going to see the preseason field, so we'll see. We'll say that, baby. So yeah, but I would say this, like, I mean, look, he had his college stats were 881 rushing yards last year, 11 touchdowns, 27 receptions, and he has good passing catching ability. Look, I mean, you're right though, LOD. Is that there is so much thick competition in the backfield right now. Obviously, Najee Harris is the front runner. They just signed him. He's a solid veteran or whatever. Amari Hampton is the back behind him. And then, really third, string becomes a massive battle here. We got, Haskins, who has connections to Jim Harbaugh in his Michigan days, and Kamari Vidal, who they just drafted last year. Didn't really see too much field time. But then, you never know. Sanders, is he possible? I think he could, make it happen though, So we already know LOD's take on this, but the question I want to drop it in the chat there. Let's see. Hang on a second. We'll let it pop up so I can actually pull it up here. So, but can Sanders carve out a role as a versatile running back 3? I mean, could it be 3? Maybe it'll be number 4. It's obviously, yeah. Like the biggest thing is, we have a big running back game right now. We have a lot about him, and I do feel like he definitely has a lot of potential. Okay, hang on a second. I forgot I had his stats here, so let me pull this up here. So you can look at this is all. I'm not sure if you can see it too well. I'm sorry if you guys can't. But this is 4 years in college. So out of 4 years, obviously 2022 was his best year. Like 1,400 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, per attempt, as they say. 10 touchdowns. 111 yards per game, 28 receptions for 271. So total yards, 1,714. He was just all over the field in 2022. But then eventually, he went to South Carolina, and he didn't do quite as good. Well, he looks like he lost the job a little bit in 2023 in Arkansas, but then he went to South Carolina and actually got the role again. And so now, and that's probably what hurt him about not getting drafted, essentially, So, hey, what's up, Grander? How you doing, my man? It's good to see you. Sorry, I just saw you pop in the chat, So yeah. Okay, so Weenie brings up a good point here. Only with injuries in Harris and Hampton are known for the durability. So I don't think so. Haskins is too valuable on special teams to be off the roster. Yeah, and that's very possible, So I mean, look, at the same side, like this guy has obviously look, every player on the team has all the potential in the world to make the roster. Nothing's set in stone just yet, but you guys are right. I mean, there are certain values that that we've seen already out of some of these players like Haskins versus Raheim Sanders that we don't necessarily think that that he's going to take over for Haskins. Will he take over Kamani Vidal? It's very possible. You never know. Like, I mean, Vidal was a late round pick, but Raheim Sanders was an undrafted player, so, but hey, it's all up here. Obviously they've proven that they have the ability to play in college, but they got to prove again that they have the ability to play in the NFL. So that's just it. Grandazer's just say, oh yeah, like that shirt, Kyle. What's it about? Yeah, it's just a shirt that I didn't switch it out for something. I just got home from work like not too long ago, and I didn't change. So yeah, it's all good. So Sam is asking, also, do you think Rocket Sanders will last in our practice squad? Chances of another team picking him up are high. That's very possible too. I'm not 100% sure or about what team would need a solid running back and behind him. I mean, obviously, more than likely, if Sanders does get waived and then potentially picked up for the practice squad in that time, or picked up by some other team, I would, put my money on that he would go to the Raiders, just because it's just what always happens. Like, our Raiders players show up and they just, or Chargers players get released and then they just go to the Raiders somehow. That doesn't make any sense, Grandizer says the Chargers seem too deep to be at running back, but I hope this guy is kept. Yeah. I mean, it's very possible he can be on the practice squad. And, the truth is running backs do get kind of hurt, and Najee Harris has been kind of disgruntled about the fact that we picked up a Marion Hampton. So that's all good. Yeah. So that's just kind of the first thought that I have here. I'm not 100% sure who I have picked up next there, So I'm here late from camping, Lake Paris. Hey, what's up, Pappy? How you doing? Oh, that's awesome that you were camping, man. So no, and Grandizer, no, it is not a golf tee. I do not golf. The only kind of golf that I do is top golf and mini golf. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, okay. So next one. Okay, yeah. So this is the next guy. So another player that I wanted to talk about here is Jordan Oladokun. Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure how if that's the correct place or pronunciation of his name or whatever like that, but here's the big question that I want to pop up with him while I talk about him to you guys is, does Oladokun have a slot on defense or special teams role? So this is an interesting thought for me because cornerbacks, we talked a little bit about defensive backs, with safeties and stuff like that, but did not too much about corners. And so we have a bit of a crowded cornerback room as well. We got Dante Jackson, Triqueze Bridges. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Cam Hart, of course. Tarheeb still as nickelback. Jasir Taylor, Benjamin St. Just, Nico Reed, Miles. Eric Rogers, who we just signed recently from undrafted. Dean Leonard, of course, and then of course Oladokun he's currently listed on ESPN as the fourth string cornerback. So it really kind of makes me question whether or not we should be able to keep him or not. I just don't know 100%. But the big thing for him, let me see if I can pull this up here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it does have it here. Like, again, I'm sorry that if you guys can't see it, but, wait, hang on. I could probably, I could pull up my pen. Let's pull up the pen here, my man. Oh, you know what? I don't think it's not going to work. I can't pull up the pen for what I found out that the pen only works on this screen here. It doesn't work on that one here. So, but I can still do this. So right here, this is the big thing about him that one right there. He has 9 interceptions in college. And I think that's actually like a really interesting stat to pick up right there, because like I said before, Jim Harbaugh loves this, loves turnovers. He loves takeaways. He loves interceptions, whatever you want to call it. I know, like, I don't want to say turnovers because I remember seeing Ed Green. I think that was the name of the coach, whatever, that kind of went off. He kind of became unglued or unhinged, whatever, when someone said turnovers, because he said, "No, that's a dessert," So yeah, so 9 interceptions for this guy, and really just between 2 years of playing ball. So I think that could be a thing, but he needs to show that he can actually make it happen in camp. And he needs to keep doing that. He needs to be kind of a ball hawk, and keep at it. But look at that. So, but he got 3 tackles for a loss, which is awesome. So he got some little cornerback blitz going. Combo tackles, combined tackles between solos, 83. So he's up there, So, and he did get a pick sixes too in his years. So. And he did get 1 fumble return. So in the year before that in 2022, that's literally what got him his job. And I did kind of get in this scoring one there too, to kind of see like, that interceptions there. So I don't know, like I probably shouldn't have grabbed that last part on the bottom there, So, but I do think, okay. But what do you guys think about Oladokun? Do you think he has the ability to get a higher position on the roll, make the squad, Because I think he does. I really do think he can make the team, because the fact is that we have, we have good people there. Cam Hart, Dante Jackson, Dean Leonard, Benjamin St. Juste. We got a bunch of veterans there, but I think Dean Leonard he's kind of on the bubble, guys, and same with Jasir Taylor. I think both of them are kind of on the bubble. Like we haven't really seen them like really show up that they're like, fantastic players. Yeah, they're great players for special teams, but they haven't proven that they're like the top tier cornerbacks that we need, top lockdown cornerbacks. And so that's kind of, I just don't know, man. Like, I do think that they have the pot, and because we talked a little bit about Dante Jackson potentially being on the bubble himself, even though we just signed it, But I do understand, we don't really know who this guy is. But yeah, okay, you guys are saying nah, not a chance. HH4 saying he's a practice squatter. George is asking, do you think J.K. Scott will do well? How do you think J.K. Scott will do well, Miguel or Kyle? Yeah, of course, I love J.K. Scott. He's a good punter for sure. Mark's a little bit behind. A little bit says, I would put Vidal on the practice squad and keep Rocket at the 3rd spot. Okay. Yeah, that could definitely work out as well, man. But we just need to see some more action out of him. We want to see something. Let's see, what coach doesn't love defensive? That's right, exactly. No coach does. Every coach loves it. But obviously it takes a certain type of player to do it. Some players you have to be a little bit more risky in order to make it happen. So. Miguel's hanging out with the Bolt Bros. Yes, what's up? Competitors welcome as always, guys. Okay, LOD brings up here. This year played with a broken bone in his leg last year. He's not going anywhere and will play heavy minutes. Oh, dang, I totally forgot about that. Yes, that article did come out. Yes, and so that shows his toughness, man. And just like Harbaugh said at the end of the season, your best ability is availability, my man. That's what's up. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, hang on a second. Andrew James, don't do. Let's see. Kyle, I have another idea for the Bolt Bros to do for a live show, but when I suggest streams to you guys, Andrew and James don't do them, feeling like they don't like those ideas. Well, James and Andrew, like they want to do whatever the things that they want to do. And I do what I want to do, for the show. It's like to be honest, like we kind of treat our channel, the Bolt Bros, kind of like our own. Let me just kind of hide this real quick. Yeah. Kind of like our own like network in some regard, so like each one of us can have our own type of show, and it just works, so, and we do kind of look at what the algorithm wants, like what get better views and things like that, but I don't know. And that's kind of just how it works out sometimes, so but hey, go ahead and throw your idea out there. We might make something happen. No guarantees, of course, like we'll talk about it and kind of figure things out, but that's just it, so yeah. Anyway, so a little digress there. So Nick says Leonard makes the team, Taylor gets cut. Okay, so he thinks Dean's on, but Jasir is gonna get let go. So maybe let's see. Yeah, it's very possible. Yeah. The Bolts don't have another returner, so they keep a little guy. Yeah, I mean that's true. Well, no, that's just it though too. I mean we have Darius Davis to return, of course, the little guy, fast and stuff like that, but then also KLS apparently was a great returner as well. So we might be able to pick him up as well. So yeah. So but then real quick, Grandizer's question or thought is maybe you can do this idea. Do a top 10 best Chargers going to the 2025 season. Is Herbert number one or maybe no? Yeah, that's kind of, I like the idea, but here's the truth about those top 10 type things, you kind of put yourself in a bit of in a pickle sometimes with who you think the top 10 players are for the team, because it's kind of an interesting thought because it's like, well, yeah, we could say who we think is the best top players of the team this year, but it may end up being kind of similar lists each time. I mean, the very clear answers are going to be like, yeah, you're gonna say Herbert, you're gonna say Khalil Mack, you're gonna say, Slater, you're gonna say Alt, maybe, you'll say maybe Najee Harris, you'll say Mike Williams, at least on offense or whatever like that. And I guess you could do both sides or whatever, but it's kind of hard to really like get into like. And I've thought about doing a top Chargers all-time Chargers team, like basically like like the greatest of all time Chargers as a team. That we've thought about doing that kind of stuff too, but it's kind of like, well, you do that and then like players are all like, it's so weird how people will come out, it's like out of the woodwork, and I was like, oh, what about this player from this time, played from this year to this year, like, and you're like, I don't even know who that guy is, it's like crazy. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's right though, Miguel. The 1, 2, 3 is me, then James, then Andrew. Yeah, in that order specifically. But Andrew's like he's a distant 3. Right? Yeah. All right, but I digress. I digress. So yeah, it's like having a good time. Anyways, so let me go to the next one here. Oh, hang on a second. Let me clear this thing out. All right. And I'm not gonna turn off pen. There you go. Okay. And then the last person I want you, and you guys did kind of get ahead of me a little bit. The last person I wanted to chat about is, of course, Stevo Klotz. Yeah. So Stevo Klotz is like we've all talked about him quite a bit, and fact is too is like the tight end room is one that we've all talked about a lot. And so the question that I want to pose to you guys, of course, is could he be a surprise roster pick, a surprise roster lock here? So I'm a little bit behind in the chat though, guys. So sorry about that. I'll try and go back up after I talk about this one real quick. I realize I'm going a little bit longer than I was hoping that I was going to do, but it's okay. I'm having a good time with you guys. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm going to say like, it's going to be very tough for him to make the roster, because that would definitely mean that we are going to have 5. I would maybe 5. No, he could probably take a 4th spot, maybe, just maybe. I don't know. But if anything, he could be a 5th spot for us, But Stevo Klotz does have a lot of ability to make the team as well. But the biggest thing is, though, too, obviously, as you guys have seen this week, and I'll talk about this as well, is that, what's his name? Conklin has been showing massive ability of his footwork and stuff like that, so he knows exactly. He's a great player, and a lot of people are saying, like, look, don't sleep on him. He's going to be an awesome player. Excited to see what Conklin can do for the team, but I'm also excited to see what Gadsden can do with the team, and he's been showing up and proving that has the ability, and he deserves to be on this team as well. So that this fourth slot is kind of a big thing. So, but currently right now, Tucker Fisk is slated for the fourth slot. So I do think that Stevo Klotz could actually be he could make the running. Like we talked about at the very beginning. Look, anyone and anything is possible in the NFL, and I do think that this guy could make it because he has. Let's pull up his stats here. So he's obviously more of a receiver slash. Actually, no, he's more of a tight end slash fullback, which is actually very valuable power set, I believe, with him. Obviously, we still have, for fullback, we have Scott Matlock, his cousin's up in the chat right now, Mark, whatever like that, so Mark Matlock is in the chat. But I do think that we have some potential out of him. And, he came out of Iowa State, so he's definitely a corn-fed. We like those corn-fed tight ends out here in the Bolt Bros, so, but he played mostly as a tight end. Obviously, he was weirdly enough in a linebacker position for a little bit. But he's more of a receiver tight end, obviously not too much, to say here. But I believe they picked him up because, obviously he's got some size to him, and that's kind of why they like him as linebacker. But then also kind of list him somewhat as a fullback as well. And so he could be a good special teamer, if anything, too, like with a little bit of catching ability and stuff like that, but he doesn't really have much catching ability, but a lot of, like I said, yeah, man. Okay, wait, hang on a sec. Grandizer, I brought it up though, says maybe see. Well, sure. Okay, we'll Grandizer. So send me up on Facebook what you're talking about here with how the Panther Nation did it. And then that'll be maybe a good thing though. Yeah, so that we can take a look at it, because honestly, it is the off season. We do have a little bit of a. It is kind of hard to find some things to talk about, so this could be something good. So, but send that over to me on Facebook, and I'll take a look at it, and we'll see about that. Yeah. So yeah. Let's see. Anyway, so going back to Klotz and Matlock situation. So, LOD believes that Matlock is more interested in playing defense, so Klotz has a good chance of making it on the roster. Oh, that's a good point there too, because then he can be the replacement for fullback itself and just be the full-time that, while Matlock does defense, gets back on the defensive line and stuff like that, So maybe even does some, obviously, special teams and stuff like that too, So shout out to the Matlocks, my man. And Mark, if you you have some inside information, share with the class, my man. Yeah. So Mark also says special teams will decide the last 3 of the 53. We know 100%, and that's the biggest thing, So most of these players, they got to realize that they're not going to necessarily be a starting offense or starting defense on this side of it, these potential underdogs, So, but yeah, so they gotta be saying, okay, I gotta make it. If I'm making the team, I'm gonna get on the special teams, So all that stuff, yeah. So. Hey, Andrew, what's up, my man? How are you? Good to see you here. Who is the backup kicker? I'm not 100% sure who the backup kicker is, Miguel. Let me pull that up. I don't think we don't really have one right now. Technically, Cameron Dicker and J.K. Scott are it. So I guess if Cameron Dicker goes down, J.K. Scott can be a place kicker, and if J.K. Scott goes down, then Cameron Dicker can be the punter, really. So they are each other's backups, I believe. So yeah. And by the way, currently Jalen Reagor is listed as a punt return kick returner in third string situation. So that's pretty wild to me. But we also have Ladd and Hassan Haskins in the second strings. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, Herbert can also kick, right? So, anyway, so that's just my thoughts. Like, look, I think that might be it. I'm not sure. Yeah, that was just, that was it. That's for my brother's things earlier. Jorge, my man, yeah, you late to the party, my guy. Yeah, nobody keeps a backup kicker. It's kind of like a wasted spot, you if you just pick up somebody from the stands, like you could turn around and point to somebody and like, hey, get over here and kick, No, I definitely don't say that, because there's some people out there that dedicate their lives to kicking the ball, and they can freaking sink them, so anyway, so I guess my final thoughts are like on all this stuff though too, is like we need to kind of think about some of the player, like the reason why I kind of brought all this up, because these are all kind of some ideas that I have for some positional battles ahead of training camp, so safety position is going to be interesting between the Alohi Gilman and Elijah Molden. There's going to be quite a little bit of issues or position battles for running backs. We don't know, mostly for the third and fourth strings there. And the same goes with tight ends, mostly third and fourth strings we're looking at, so because it could be like, any one of these guys. I mean, obviously edge rush is going to be pretty solid right there. We know it's going to be Tuli and Khalil Mack. No question about that. But Kyle Kennard is going to be playing a good case. He's going to be learning from some of the best in the business right now. So I'm excited to see what happens out there. So I guess just a real quick question to you guys. But which of these players do you think actually face the toughest time in the toughest path to get into the roster? Like it's kind of a big I just don't know, man. That is the biggest question that I have in mind right now with all these players. Like I feel like for me, in my book personally, let me just highlight this question, the one that I just dropped him in there. Yeah. And yes, I do. Yeah, yes, Grand Ezra, I do wear an undershirt. Yep, I do got an undershirt on there. Yep. I always do like to layer up when I wear this. I don't like just having it because it feels weird. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I digress. I like answering you guys' questions and stuff like that. I try to be social as much as possible, when I'm doing these things. But yeah, so my thought is that Rocket Raheim Sanders has the toughest hill to climb right now, because there's a lot of people ahead of him. That running back room is crowded. So if anything, he's probably going to end up on the practice squad, maybe. Stevo Klotz, probably the same situation. He could make it on the practice squad, but I do think that he has a possibility of taking Tucker Fisk's position. However, what's up, Isaac? Hey, shout out. What do you mean, man? Yeah, man, I do feel like that's the kind of what we have right there for all these players. But you guys let me know in the chat. And if you're late to the show, of course, and because we're about to close it up or whatever like that, but drop your comment down below and let me know what you guys are talking about on that one. So, but yeah, man, like Tuli's going to be awesome this year. Gilman's going to be like, between Gilman and Molden, it's kind of in the air. I don't really know who's going to really prove to be better. So that's kind of my number one camp battle that I'm going to be paying attention to first. But then between Sanders, Oladokun, and Klotz, those all players are kind of on the cusp as well. Obviously, if they make the team, they're not going to be starters, no 100%. They'll probably be special teamers at best. But more than likely practice squatters if they prove that they got the ability. I do think that Oladokun probably has a higher chance of getting into the squad because of his interceptions ability, So Mark Scott says the punter. Yes, that's right. But yeah, as always, guys, this we are the Bolt Bros. If you're just joining the show, we are actually three brothers, James, Andrew, and myself, Kyle. We all do a little bit of different things every single week. They usually cover more during the day, little random news, articles that pop up here and there. And I actually have my show on Thursday nights in the off season to kind of keep up with the Thursday night football theme. But in the during the season, I switch it up to Wednesdays before the games to potentially talk about, hey, we might actually have a game on Thursday night, So yeah. But as always, guys, thank you guys so much for joining the show. It's been awesome. We're over by a little bit of an hour here, so I'm gonna sign off for the night. And you guys can catch us again live on Sunday in the afternoon or about 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, or 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. Sorry. And yeah, man, I'm excited for for the season, of course. And you know what? I do like the idea of you guys, if you can, send me some ideas for videos because, man, hey, but before I go, let me address Jorge real quick because he said that my drafts suck, but according to all of my, between all my brothers, James and Andrew, I was the only player that got exactly one. I got one of the players that was correct on the freaking draft. So I was the only brother that got one player right, at least just one. Their drafts all were completely terrible, and they didn't get a single draft right. So yeah, man. You say that my draft sucked. I was the one that had one right. Yeah, Kyle, tell us you're not leaving. No, of course I'm not leaving the show, my man. I'm just signing off for the night, my man. Yeah. You're surrounded by yes men. They're lying to you about all your drafts. But like I said, hey, I was the only one that got something right. Yeah. So you can say what you want, Jorge, but yeah, but I don't believe you, my man. Anyways, but yeah. But that's all I gotta say. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys. I love you, but I do got to get out of here, and I'm gonna talk to you guys later. So wait, hang on a sec. Yeah, you guys are just talking to me too much. Okay, hang on a sec. I'm not leaving just yet. Kyle, you want to know what sucks when you turn into a vampire and bite a pretty gal on the neck? Hey, I nibble a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, yeah, all right, guys. Well, that's it. All right, peace out, guys. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for coming to the show. And as always, guys, Bo Rose, let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charge